of the alcohol. La 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all. La 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every motherfucker must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 254.
254, back in the virtual nerd basements. Guys, welcome once again for joining us.
Hey, CD.
Thanks for joining us. Hey, CD. Good to see you.
For chat with you, as the case may be.
Muck, they're fucking cold out there today.
Yeah, it was. Yesterday looked like a goddamn blizzard a couple of times.
Yeah, it's weird. I saw some my friends posting pictures and stuff. Obviously, we didn't get much snow in this area, but I think you go just a scotch further north, and it's it got quite.
Was that a different story? A different story?
Yes, a bit farther.
Yeah. Well, I saw part of the Monday Night Football game last night, and it was played in Buffalo, and they were having the same weather. It was that sideways blowing snow with the wind so heavy. I guess in the entire game there were like 3 passes because it was so windy.
Wow. Really? So they just kept doing handoffs and stuff?
Yeah, they were just doing running plays.
That's funny.
Well,
fucking Michigan. What are you gonna do?
Yep. It'll probably be like 60 degrees next week and fuck everybody up
actually,
again.
it's like going to be up like 58 on Saturday.
Yeah, see, that's what I said.
We're predicting at 58 on Saturday.
Yeah, so it's going to be my sinuses are just going to be going crazy again. And
through the goddamn roof.
Which, speaking of that, I actually am feeling, hey, Sneak Coot.
Hey, Sneak Coot. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, how many seasons can we have in a week? Yeah, exactly. So just got over being sick with COVID, and now I've actually got my booster shot scheduled for Thursday morning.
I as well have a booster shot scheduled for Monday afternoon.
Cool. Which one you getting?
I have Pfizer. And
okay.
Kroger, the Kroger near my house is having them. So Stella and I, she actually made the appointments for the both of us.
Renee and I are mixing it up. We're getting Moderna this time.
I heard you're not supposed to mix.
No, actually, they're saying you should mix them.
Really?
Yes. Most of the studies have shown that some doctors say it doesn't really matter, but most of the stuff that I've been hearing from medical professionals is that if you can, mixing is not it. Yeah, like CD said, mixing not a bad idea. It can supposedly help boost the antibodies by putting different ones in.
Interesting. I would think that would be it just would be better, more advised to not do that.
And that's what I thought at first too. I'm like, well, I'll stick with Pfizer, but everything that I've been reading and hearing from friends and those that I know in the field are saying no. If anything, if you can do it, do it.
All right, interesting. Well, I'm still going to go with Pfizer because that's what I requested and shit. So.
Yep. Well, the other thing is I've heard that a lot of people that when they get the Moderna, it has been kicking their ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like seriously kicking their ass.
Bum deal, man.
Only for a day or two though, and then you're fine.
You ever feel bad about all of the shit that you could be watching and or playing, but you're not because you're playing old stuff that you just wanted to go back and play again?
Sometimes. I've got...
Or watch again.
Well, I've got Coder on my computer that I keep trying to play. And actually, I did start playing it the other day, and or about a week ago, and I was playing it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really getting into it, and then it just fucking crashed on me.
Oh man. No, I just feel bad. Like I'm on. We're binging The Sopranos right now, which, in all honesty, I kind of didn't see much of the last 2 seasons.
Renee and I are binging Castle.
Okay, yeah, sure, exactly. And yeah, Stella's never seen The Sopranos, so we're watching The Sopranos. And I'm playing a lot of Skyrim right now because the Skyrim Anniversary Edition came out. There now, granted, again, there's a bunch of new stuff that got added. But I mean, I have played.
It's
Skyrim
still Skyrim.
A couple of times.
It's still just Skyrim.
It's still Skyrim, you know. I have encountered a bunch of the new shit. I have like new houses that they've put in and different other things, and I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. But I'm also like, I got all these other fucking games to play. I've got probably 10, 15 games on my constantly. I have 10, 15 games on my shelf that I need to play. I've got a couple of them down, a couple for being the PlayStation, PlayStation Plus, a couple of free games that I think I've got 3 or 4, maybe 5 free games on my hard drive on my PlayStation I've been meaning to get to. I've got at least 10 games on my computer that I've either purchased that I need to either finish or get back to. I just feel like there's just, and then on top of it, the sheer mountain of media that's on Hulu, Netflix, Paramount Plus,
HBO Prime,
HBO Max, Prime, all the things that I have on my queue. And I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that. Oh, gotta watch that. Oh, there's 100 hours that I gotta watch, or something. And I just like, it's so overwhelming, and particularly when and then I like all the books and comic books that I still gotta read.
Yep. But I'm still keeping up on a bunch of new stuff too, because I'm keeping up on Hawkeye, which we'll talk about later.
You're gonna keep up. I am keeping up on
Hawkeye. I've watched all the episodes of Cowboy Bebop, nice. The live action one.
I gotta finish Young Justice.
I have to finish Young Justice. I actually have to go back. I've only watched like the first 2 episodes of that.
Yeah.
And then
I think there's 9 episodes in the season. I think they might have finished already, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I need to get back to watching that. I forget about that one because it's on HBO Max, and I don't think to look there for that type of stuff. Although I should, because I've watched several of the DC animated shows.
There really is a shit ton. Yeah, there's a shit ton of DC stuff on it.
Which actually, I think I know. Speaking of DC stuff, the the new Batman stuff is out on Blu-ray, both Part 1 and Part 2 now.
Oh yeah, the Long Halloween.
Yeah, the Long Halloween.
Mm-hmm. I have them on Blu-ray.
Which I want to see those. But yeah, I'm also keeping up on Wheel of Time.
I have not started that.
Oh, it's so good, and I'm still keeping up on The Rookie.
Right, I think they did a skip week.
Yeah, but there was a new episode. There was a new episode Sunday.
Okay, great. So then it's probably on Hulu then.
Yeah, it is. We watched it last night.
Yeah. You know what was on tonight, and is on, I think right now actually, was a new Norman Lear live sitcom. They did that Jeffersons.
Oh yeah, and All in the Family,
and All in the Family, and stuff like last year or the year before. They're doing Different Strokes in the Facts of Life tonight.
Huh.
And they're going to be on Hulu tomorrow. And I got to admit, the previous ones were pretty goddamn funny. I mean, a few of them were a little bit better. The Jeffersons was really funny. All in the Family was really great. They got some bigger name stars to be on them too, like Woody Harrelson playing Archie Bunker and Marissa Tomei playing Edith Bunker. On this one, they've got for Different Strokes, they've got Kevin Hart is playing Arnold on Different Strokes, so the Gary Coleman role. Damon Wayans is playing his brother Willis. They have what's the guy on Third Rock from the Sun?
Which one?
The eldest.
John Lithgow?
Lithgow's playing Mr. Drummond.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really funny. And they've got the one actress, I can't remember her name right now, but she's been making a lot of waves on I guess Handmaid's Tale. She's been getting a lot of really great attention. Not the star, but one of the supporting actresses. She's playing Mrs. Garrett, and then she's also going to play Mrs. Garrett on Facts of Life, because Mrs. Garrett was started off on Different Strokes, and then she Facts of Life spin-off. Jennifer Aniston is going to play Blair.
I just saw that. I was just looking it up. And
the funny thing to me is that all of the actors that are on these like kind of revisit, reboot, whatever, they're all playing, a bunch of them are playing teenage and characters or child characters, and none of them are even close to being teenagers. It's really funny. So anyway, being a child,
Catherine Hahn is playing Jo.
Right? Catherine Hahn is playing Jo. But yeah, being a child of the 80s and having like grown up watching those shows, I loved Different Strokes as a kid. And Facts of Life was one of my favorites too.
Judy is Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle Union, yeah. And but watching those shows growing up, I mean, seeing these ones now, it's great. It's like seeing, a stage play and just you've already seen the play, but it's been recast. And I mean, they're just freaking really great. Jamie Foxx played George Jefferson.
Yep.
Jefferson one, and he was absolutely hilarious.
I didn't see the Jeffersons. I watched the
they
All
did
in the
two
Family.
Archie Bunker ones. They did two All in the Family.
Yeah, I think I watched the first one of those, and then I didn't watch the second, and I didn't get a chance to see the Jeffersons. It was one of those I kept meaning to go back to it, and I never actually wound up getting around to it.
Yeah, they did two Archie Bunker ones. They did All in the Family. Two Archie Bunker are All in the Family. Two All in the Family. They did Jeffersons, and then they did Good Times. And they just were really entertaining, highly entertaining, I gotta admit. And so then and those were largely like, they were late 70s, early 80s, like late 70s, early 80s. And then now the new ones that they're doing are very distinctly 80s.
Yes.
Man, I gotta tell you, I think to see Jennifer Aniston as Blair, if they're actually gonna wear like the school uniforms that they used to wear, I mean, that's just gonna be fucking.
But yeah, CD, I believe they're on right now. If you have regular TV, and then like Russ said, they'll be on Hulu tomorrow.
Yeah, they've even said streaming on Hulu tomorrow. So, but yeah, I mean, I grew up watching those, so it's just gonna be really kind of. I'm tickled to watch them. So,
that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of just got right into it. How was your week? You're feeling better?
I'm feeling better. Last week was pretty much all just time off. Recovering from COVID. I used the time off to my advantage. So, other than that, I mean, that's really all it was. It was just getting over being sick. I was in quarantine basically until Friday when I got retested. And then we had our game, Friday night, our D&D game. And that was a lot of fun. Mostly a role-playing / shopping episode, but it was good.
Yeah, we did have a well, it wasn't just there was shopping, but it was a social episode. There wasn't fighting.
Which, by the way, Bob wants to talk to you about coming up with a symbol for Grimbold.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. We can even we can kind of work on it while we're gaming next time.
Yeah.
In my
something that he can like quickly carve into a tree or into a rock or something like that to mark a path or.
Okay. Yeah. Like a kind of a GB combination kind of thing. I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah, Renee said that I hit you guys in the feels with Sarah's closure.
Oh man, that was rough. I'll tell you, that was impressive. I was impressed. Yeah, Chris, you really nailed it. That's not an easy thing to do. And particularly in D&D, particularly with like when you're kind of an older jaded gamer and to actually be able to go, oh damn, I just got hit in the feels by something that happened in a D&D game. I was impressed, very impressed. Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I'm glad that it turned out that way. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it. I had a blast. I thought that was a great little side storyline. Um, really enjoyed it, and that was actually out of Candlekeep Mysteries. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, it honestly, for being a little side storyline, it became more than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it seemed to me it was just kind of a little side thing that you were adding into the game, and I figured we'd be done with it relatively soon. But no, man, it it didn't. Saying it dragged on is a bad, like, it's not the right
it
word.
had
just
more depth than
it had
even
like yeah.
than I actually. It had a lot more depth to the story than I thought it was going to have.
Yeah,
And honestly, that was my first impression of the Candlekeep Mysteries book, and I'm looking forward to running some more of those at some point. It won't be like a regular thing that I'm going to throw in, but every once in a while, when the book borrower of the group gets her hands on something she shouldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but that was it pretty much. That was the highlight of my week was gaming. Went and curled for the first time in over 2 weeks on Sunday, so that was cool to get back out there.
Right on.
But yeah, other than that, it's just work this week. Like I said, getting my booster on Thursday. So.
Well, I can certainly relate. I've been just kind of like chilling, kind of continuing to recover from, from both work and then being pretty sick for a few days. It's interesting, like Stella caught the same cold that I did, but didn't seem to get it didn't knock her on her ass like it did me for the first few days. Plus, because of her medications that she takes, she can't really take NyQuil. Apparently, it has kind of a weird. She ends up having like bad nightmares and can't get any rest anyway. So
I've heard of people that have that issue actually.
Kind of counteracts what it's supposed to do. So she was taking Dayquil at night, and now we're pretty much just taking some Mucinex to just kind of break up what's left of the
get it all out.
Yeah, get it out. We still got the lingering cough, but at least it's a relatively productive one. And yeah, just kind of, I didn't do a whole lot. I wanted the week after Thanksgiving to kind of be my like I ain't doing fuck all kind of shit.
It's your vacation
kind of week. Yeah. And so I just kind of continued to recover from being sick and just kind of relaxed, played a lot of video gaming, did a lot of up late, sleeping late. It's kind of what I do when I'm not on a work schedule, which is going to change.
You were up all night.
All night. When I, that's the thing, when I go to my my work, when I go to when my salary position starts in February, I'm not gonna be able to do that. So, kind of taking it in now. And yeah, so trying to, but yesterday and today, trying to get a few more. I've got a list of things that I need to do. I got a bunch of comic book organizing to do. We got to hit the recycling center and take a bunch of stuff to the recycling center. And
not comics. You mentioned having the comics, and then
say that.
Well, because you said you mentioned the comics, and then said you had to go to the recycling center. I'm like, you're not taking your comics to the recycling center. Just to be clear for everybody at home.
I'd have to rent a truck. No, I'm not. I'm taking an old TV and a bunch of just stuff that needs to go to the recycling center that can't really go out to the curb. And
I got boxes of electronics I got to take to the recycling center.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize you're really not just supposed to throw away like old phones and stuff. You're supposed to take them to the recycling center, and because they have like precious metals in them and stuff, and like old.
Yeah, but you can take those to like Best Buy and just drop them in the thing at the front of the store.
But you are supposed to recycle them because they aren't. These are my last three. The first 3 out of the 5 Samsungs I've had. Actually, here's the last one that broke. So those are all.
You got a full house, man. Yeah, just go Office Space on them in the backyard and put them in the trash.
I had a buddy that had I can't remember if he did it or not, but he had said that he was going to start a company where you could take old electronics and whatnot and to like computers and everything, and that they would open them up and take out the precious metals like gold and stuff like that, and at least recycle them properly. And I was like, oh, that's a really great idea.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of stuff that goes into landfills that's not supposed to go into landfills. So guys, recycle your computer.
Recycle all your electronics.
Exactly. So anyway, we should kind of get into it. What are you drinking?
I am actually drinking something. I'm not drinking beer tonight. Drinking something different.
Yeah.
This is a craft cocktail. I originally picked this up for Renee, but I wanted to try it myself too. It is Blueberry Gin Lemonade by New Holland Spirits.
Okay.
It's there's the can right there. It's oops. I don't know. Let's see. Block the light. There we go. If I reach out and block the light, you can kind of see the can. So it is 9% ABV. It's a ready-to-drink cocktail. It says pour over ice. Best served chilled. So I did. I poured it over ice. It is a little cloudy. It's just a little got a little yellow hint, the little yellow hue to it. I'll go ahead and take another sip here. I have to say, I really like this. This is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically it's very sweet. But it's also got that tartness from the lemon. The blueberries, there's not a lot of blueberry flavor that I get, but there is a lot of lemonade, and I think the sweetness from the blueberry kind of cuts a little bit of the tart from the lemon. But overall, I really like this a lot. This is tasting really good. At least tonight, it's this is like exactly what I wanted. It's really good. I give it 2 thumbs up because it's a craft cocktail. It's not really like gonna get bottle caps, but Renee says it tastes fake to her. Well, I'll finish them off if you don't want them because these are really I really like this. So, but yeah, I like it. New Holland Spirits, which is the same as New Holland Brewing. It's just their spirits division. Blueberry gin lemonade, really good. I liked it.
Look into it.
Yeah, if you can find it, it's worth it. Comes in like a little 4-pack. It's a little box 4-pack. So, yeah, really good stuff. They're not just dragon's milk. They make other things, including spirits. So, how about you? What are you drinking?
You know what? I reviewed this a couple weeks ago, and I thought I'd give it I'd have another one because they're just fantastic. This is the Shorts mule beer, and Shorts brew.
So you're drinking beer tonight, and I'm not.
I know, right? It's crazy. Now, technically, it is an ale, but I got to tell you, you can't taste it, man. The ginger is a very strong flavor. Ginger overpowers almost anything. I mean, there's no getting around it. I mean, if you put ginger in something, you're going to taste it. So, and it is a very strong ginger flavor. It's lime and ginger. Ale brewed with lime and ginger. Best served in copper. So I guess, best I should have poured it in. I got a copper mug in the other room, but okay. I gotta tell you, it's really great. I mean, this is some fun stuff. It's for refreshing. I could drink these all fucking day. They're only 4.5. So I mean, it's about average for a beer, these days. But so maybe I couldn't drink it all day. But it's just really, really nice. I gotta tell you, I'm really digging these. So Shorts brew mule beer, like I said, it's very much a kind of a Moscow mule.
I'm gonna have to pick some of those up. I haven't had them in several years.
I didn't know that they'd been around that long. These are just really great. So check them out, guys, from Shorts Brewery. The mule beer, and particularly if you gotta like ginger though. If you're not a ginger fan, avoid it.
Actually, you talking about that last week, I actually went out and bought ginger beer, and I had vodka and then some limes, and I was actually making, I made a Moscow Mule on Sunday, I think it was.
Keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to be getting into a bunch of other stuff. I don't know what he's doing back there. But yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. A whole bunch of MCU stuff with a bunch of things coming out, as well as some other stuff. Found the mango sorbet, and it's pretty great. Love the new nectar stuff. Cool. That's good. I don't even know the mango sorbet. Have to make sure to get some of that. But yeah, so
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It said to fix that. There's a hole in the corner, and if something fell on the top right up there, you see, there's a hole, and if those DVDs fell down in that corner, they're lost forever. They're lost to time. So there might even be something down there. I don't even know.
So it's Necro rebranded, Renee says, which I didn't know they were rebranding it. So is it?
Oh yeah, the mango sorbet.
Yeah, is it still? It's not like the black pepper or anything. Oh, literally changed nothing in the recipe. So it's still a black pepper, mango, type of thing. So it's okay. They just didn't want to go with Necro Mango Con anymore.
I gotta admit, it's a bit of a mouthful, Necro Mango Con.
I still think it's cool though, because I mean their whole thing is that they do a bunch of movie references.
Right. I saw it at the store actually. I was like, huh, that looks. I wonder what happened there. But yeah, I guess just a rebranding. They switched to cans, and so the opportunity to change it. All right. Well, thanks, Renee. Thanks for the heads up on that one. So again, short brew, mule beer, and what are you drinking again? It was a cocktail from
blueberry gin lemonade from New Holland Spirits. Very carbonated too, which is nice. I like that.
Okay.
Just poured some more in there, and it's foaming at the top.
So to get into it, we got a bunch of things here that I just kind of popped out here, just a bunch of quick hits. But one thing for sure I wanted to say, the parents of the kid that shot up the school this week got arrested. It looks like they were attempting to flee. The kid that was at Oxford School, shot up Oxford School. He has been charged with multiple things. He's pleading not guilty apparently, and people are like, what the hell?
Well, that's what you do in the legal system.
The parents looked like they were fucking getting ready to go do a runner, because they've been charged with because of the 4 people that died. They've been being charged, each of them, with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, which I think is a great idea, because they should have been charged with something at least, because of their negligent parenting. I saw an article saying that they would leave the kid alone at 10 years old in the house while they went down the street about a half mile away and hit the bars in downtown Oxford or wherever the hell they lived. They're unvaccinated fucking whack jobs apparently, and but it looked like they're getting ready. They're trying. From what some people are saying, there was a rumor they were trying to basically figure out a way to boat across the river to Canada, because they weren't going to be able to get across the bridge because of their unvaccinated status and the fact that they're pretty much, well known at this point. The weird thing is the dad looks weirdly familiar. He does. I don't know if I know him.
They were charged, and they were actually being held on $500,000 bonds each.
Yeah, each. So they're not going anywhere. And the thing is I think they need a new charge. I think that they should be charged as well for child abandonment, because their kid is in jail. He's not going anywhere, and they were ready to fucking skip town.
Yeah, he was in jail. He was fine.
Still, that
Somebody else was taking care of him.
Child abandonment. So I'm just glad that they got caught.
Yep.
And that they're also facing charges and being in jail and just ignore. I mean, there's again, we don't want to deal too much on it, but it is big news. So I did want to kind of address it. That this kid, there was the system failed this kid several times. I mean, obviously there were cries for help. We're not heard. I mean, I don't want to. The kid did make as Ethan did make the choice to to go in and randomly shoot people up. So he needs to be punished. But at the same time, unfortunately, the system needs to be better because it didn't. This kid looked like he needed help and didn't get the help that he needed. So
yeah.
And now his life is over. So anyway, I just wanted to address that. Also, some more bad news locally. DJ Charles English, who is a well-known club DJ in the area. Particularly, he was an alternate for alternate clubs like City Club and Northern Lights Lounge and Smalls. He was known for DJing goth industrial type of stuff and whatever. He passed away today.
Oh, I had not heard that.
Yeah, he also had some time on 89X.
Mm-hmm.
He would, I think, like Sunday nights, he had a show and whatever. I don't know, but yeah, DJ Charles English, who pretty much, like, for many people that kind of were coming in, particularly coming of age in the 80s and 90s, and were in the clubs and stuff at the time, we're very familiar with him. And I became familiar with him when I started going to City Club and stuff in the mid 90s and shit. And yeah, it's just,
I didn't know a lot of DJs, but he's one that I actually knew.
Yeah, you could remember that name.
Yep.
DJ Charles English, he got around. But it helped that he had radio stuff too. So he had a couple radio shows. So kind of a bummer. Leading into that.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say one more thing in current events. I read an article today that the Republican Party is in the middle of a civil war, is what they're calling it.
Such a shame.
There are a bunch of Republicans that Trump supports that are now going to be running in primaries against incumbents, both governors, senators.
Sure. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Because Trump is trying, it feels that all these other ones are weak because they didn't support him enough. Like the governor of Georgia. He wants him out.
Yeah, because he wanted all the recounts and he wanted them to, and he approached the governor of Georgia and was like, hey, buddy, kind of make it happen. You gotta, fuck you, man. Yeah, that guy's a goddamn criminal.
But yes, all must be loyal to the fascist. That's exactly it, CD.
Yeah. I think because I think Donald Trump, if he knows he won't get reelected, even if he runs again, I don't think he'll get.
They're saying his plan is that he's going to run again in 2024, and so he is the face of the Republican Party, and that's why all these other sycophants are coming up and are going to be running against the incumbents. The people in Washington, I guess, are still supporting the incumbents, but it's the Republican Party is currently split. There's the MAGA party and there's the Republican Party.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. We've got a couple of years yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a true split of the Republican Party. We see a party that supports Donald Trump, and then another party that supports a different candidate, and we'll see a third party will finally form. A third party.
That's not a third party we need.
Oh no, not at all.
Luckily, that'll hopefully keep them from ever getting elected then.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, some more bad news in the comic book world. One of the greatest and most beloved comic book artists of all time, George Perez, announced today that he has stage 3 pancreatic cancer, inoperable. And he went in for some surgery for a blockage in his pancreas, I believe, and they found cancer. And I'm going to read this real quick. Legendary comic artist George Perez has been diagnosed with terminal stage 3 pancreatic cancer, as disclosed in a post on his public Facebook page. On November 29th, I received confirmation after undergoing surgery for a blockage in my liver. I have stage 3 pancreatic cancer, reads Perez's statement. It is surgically inoperable, and my estimated life expectancy is between 6 months to a year. Perez goes on to state that he plans to spend his remaining time with friends and family, and is hoping to organize a final signing event for his numerous fans. Now, he had retired in 19 from comic book art because he had, due to his health, he's gotten older. I mean, he's in his late 60s, early 70s, right around my father's age.
He's 67.
67, thank you. So a little bit younger than my dad. He plans to spend his remaining time with friends and family. He's hoping to organize a final signing event. He got his start in the early 70s at Marvel Comics, penciling backup stories in titles such as Astonishing Tales and Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, in which he co-created the Puerto Rican superhero White Tiger alongside writer Bill Mantlo to celebrate his own heritage. He quickly moved on to become the regular artist of Avengers for over 20 issues, co-creating the Taskmaster, who appeared in Black Widow, and drawing part of the Korvac saga story, one of Perez's first major storylines. Following stints at Marvel on Fantastic Four and Inhumans, Perez moved to DC, where he took on penciling duties for JLA after the death of longtime JLA artist Dick Dillon. From there, Perez became the artist on New Teen Titans, revamping the teen team alongside writer Marv Wolfman to make it one of the most popular comics of its era, which is very true. New Teen Titans was, at the time, the most popular comic book DC was putting out, rivaling the X-Men in the mid-'80s. His run on Teen Titans, Perez designed the very first Nightwing costume, and perhaps is the most famous of his eccentric, hyper-detailed costume designs he became known for in his career. He was instrumental in creating Starfire and Cyborg, many of those characters in that era. Following New Teen Titans, he cemented his reputation as the go-to artist for high-profile superhero event stories as the lead artist on DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he developed his penchant for massive group shots featuring dozens and dozens of highly detailed, intricately rendered characters and dynamic layouts, which is significant for me because right after the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the mid-'80s was when I started collecting comics regularly. Following Crisis, he revamped Wonder Woman with a new origin and new style, elevating back to a fan favorite character after several years of downturn and bringing her back to her roots in Greek mythology. In the early 90s, he returned to Marvel as the lead artist on the Infinity Gauntlet. And for a few years, Perez took selected projects, including Peter David's Future Imperfect, in which he co-created the Maestro, the evil future version of the Hulk. And in the late 90s, he returned to spotlight in a big way as the artist of the Heroes Return era of the Avengers relaunch alongside writer Kurt Busiek. Then later on, just gonna to quickly paraphrase, he also had been his passion project was to create the JLA versus Avengers miniseries that they tried to get kicked off in the 80s, but weren't able to make it work. But then in the late 90s, early aughts, he was able to do his crowning, what he considers his crowning achievement, which was the JLA versus Avengers mini that sprang out about 15 years ago. It was amazing. My personal healing energies are going out to the man. He was, I did get the chance to meet him at a con. He was absolute joy. It was an interesting, funny story. I kind of went up to his table and he was sketching, and I was amazed that there wasn't a line, because George Perez is like considered one of the great masters of comic book art. And he was drawing, and I'm like, I had a stack of comics from that I probably got 30 issues, and I was like, I wanted him to sign. And I looked at him, I'm like, Mr. Perez, I'm amazed that you don't have a lineup here. And he just smiled at me, and he pointed at a sign that was sitting in front of me. I didn't even look. I was just so, wow, Mr. George Perez, and a sign that said sketching until like 4 o'clock or whatever, I'll go back to signing. And I went, I'm so sorry, I'll be back at 4. And I picked up my shit and left, and I came back, and there was a small line, and I got to talk to him for a while, and he signed every single one of my books, no problem. He said, just take them out of the bags, and I took them out, and we were chatting as we went. I talked about how he inspired my own personal work, and he was probably one of the first comic book artists that I, even before I was a collector, that I could recognize and know. I know that artist, and I know his work. And another caveat, little short story. My friend Rachel Stidham, one of my friends that I made down in Florida when I started working at Bay Area Ren Fair, knows him and considers him like her, surrogate uncle. I guess he's from Florida. She's also from Florida, and the two of them used to do community theater together. And so she's actually pretty broken up about the news today too. So a drink to, he's not gone yet, but thank you for everything that you've done, George Perez, and amazing work. Thank you again. And another drink to Charles English, sending him off on his journey.
Yes.
And a few big hits. I also found out an old buddy, my old buddy Ty Hover, passed away the other day. He was a friend that I met through City Club, and when I was hanging out at the club and stuff, and he was a regular at Ren Fair and stuff too, and was a really great guy. He struggled with diabetes, and he was responsible for organizing some diabetes. He was responsible for organizing a number of charitable events in the area, particularly like walks and jogs, and to benefit diabetes. And I guess I don't know all the details as to how he passed, but I just got the news the other day that he passed away. Man,
you're just bringing us down tonight, Russ.
Yeah, it's the hardest part about getting older, man. Is that your friends, getting sick and dying. So, that being said, let's move on to some lighter shit.
We're only 10 days away from Witcher season 2.
Yes, they are doing a I guess they're going to do like the first 2 episodes of like a special preview on the 14th, I believe it is.
Oh yeah.
Which is 7 days from today. And I saw on Facebook or Instagram that you could sign up and potentially get a preview with it, but I'm not going to bother.
No. They're dropping all 8 episodes on the 17th. So
yeah, all 8 episodes on the 17th.
Yep.
Fantastic, great. I'm so looking forward to that. That's going to be really fucking great. Stella is really jazzed about it too. I really like Henry Cavill as an actor. When I met him, he was absolute treasure. Very nice guy. I
huge
love
nerd.
His portrayal. Huge nerd. And I love his portrayal of the character. He's just he's really, really fantastic. Excuse me. I'm really excited to see where they're going to go with it. My only drag, I know the show got delayed a little bit because of COVID and everything. But
and because he got hurt.
Yeah, he did. He got hurt too. I think
he had a leg injury, I think.
I really hope that it takes less, like there's less time between the next season, because really enjoying what they're doing with that show.
Yeah, I think it's going to matter. I think it's going to make a difference on whether or not he gets the James Bond role too, because he really wants to be James Bond. And did you see the latest though, that Ryan Reynolds made a comment about, well, would you consider a Canadian James Bond? Maybe sipping gin and tonics instead of martinis. And he goes, because then I'd consider doing that. And
it would be interesting to see a non-British person playing James Bond.
I don't know that would work, but I guess he played it off as that it was just a joke. But I guess Henry Cavill was asked about it. And he's like, no, I know the way actors work. That was him putting it out there that he wants to be James Bond.
Well,
He's like, and they might just consider his A-list ass.
I think the producers are not good. We're not going to see a non-British person playing. They'll go with a female James Bond before they go with a non-British one.
I think so too. And I also just thought it was funny that he mentioned, sipping gin and tonics instead of martinis.
Yeah, him and his gin company.
Yep.
I swear to God. Oh man, Ryan Reynolds could not work. He could stop acting today, and he would still be richer than any of us could hope to dream between his various investments, his company, his gin company, and now he bought that phone service. Yep. Good Lord.
Yeah, Renee said it's good gin.
Is it? I mean, okay, great. So Witcher season 2.
Witcher season 2, December 17th, just 10 days away. And on top of that, that means we're 10 and another 17 days away or so from Spider-Man No Way Home.
Correct. There is a lot of stuff coming out lately. They're still, it's funny how tight-lipped they still are about trying to, about who's in the movie, who's not in the movie. Now we do know the villains are the big villains are in the movie. We've been seeing them in the trailers. We've got of course Doc Ock, we've got the Sandman, we've got Electro, and we have the Green Goblin.
And we have the Lizard, they're saying too.
And the Lizard, correct, yeah. So
and I think they have Scorpion too, I believe.
Yes, I believe you're correct. They have stated the Scorpion. I don't know if the Vulture is in it, but we do know the Vulture makes an appearance in Morbius. Mm-hmm. So pretty cool, honestly. That's pretty great. I love the fact that that Michael Keaton is still getting that role. I thought he was fucking brilliant as the Vulture. So
well, and so I posted a thing on Facebook, on our Facebook page. It was from I believe Brazilian convention, and they actually had the villain panel.
Yeah,
they had Tom Holland on. This is all on video, but they had Tom Holland on to introduce the movie, and then he introduced the panel, which was the villain panel, and it was Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and Jamie Foxx. All sitting in like the director chair type things, and they're all sitting together, and the hosts were asking them questions. And one of the things they asked them was, what excited you most about returning to the Spider-Man franchise and reprising these iconic roles? And Willem Dafoe said, really, it was the pitch. He really thought that the pitch for the movie and just knowing the creators and everyone and what they've done and all this, and it was just this whole thing. They went to Jamie Foxx, and he said, "I'm not blue, so I like that." And he went on about that, and then he said, "Yeah, it's just the pitch and all this." And they said, "All right, well, Alfred, what about you?" He's like, and his response was, "Oh, for me, it's just about the money." Which made everybody laugh. And then he's like, "No, honestly," he goes, "It was fun. We're having a blast. It's." And he said it really was the pitch that did it, and just the idea. And they talk about a bunch of other things, talk about how it's different now. And I remember Willem Dafoe back in the day talking about the Goblin costume and him getting into it. He said it's like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube at the time. And he said that one of the things about this type of thing is like nobody understands how uncomfortable those costumes are. He goes, although I have to say now, because it's been 20 years since he first played the Goblin, it's been 17 years since Alfred Molina played Doc Ock. Right. He's like the costume is much more comfortable now.
Oh yeah.
He said before, the first time that I played Goblin, I was standing there for 8 hours while they were putting little pieces of the costume on and cutting them and putting them on and forming them to make the costume.
Right.
And then they take it off and then go make it and then bring it back. He said now He's like, that was 20 years ago. Now I stand there, they scan my body, create the costume on a computer, and then make it and give it to me, and it fits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the technology has grown so much. I mean, hell, even just the muscle padding that they'll put in the costumes looks so much more realistic now than it did back then.
Well, and Alfred Molina
I'm really
said,
excited to see what they're going to do.
yeah, Alfred Molina said now the big difference for him was that now the octopus arms are all CGI.
Correct.
Whereas back in the day, they were he's like, I was wearing those arms, and they were being controlled by puppeteers.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I think some of that was early digital work in the distance shots, you know, like when he was on the building and he's fighting Spidey and stuff. But yeah, initially it was all practical. It was extremely practical. They talked about it and about how they built them and how advanced technologically they were and just really how fucking cool they were. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I mean, Molina it's been like 20 years for these guys. So,
but they did say that Jamie Foxx actually mentioned multiple times that he's not blue.
Yeah, multiple times in there.
He's really happy that he's not blue. But along with that, they did talk about some things. Willem Dafoe does have a small spoiler. And they actually asked at the end which one of them they thought was like the real big bad, and both Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx said that Willem Dafoe is definitely. It's like there is something about him playing that character. He just kept laughing about it, but he was like, they're like, no, when he starts talking, he's like, there is just, it's personal.
That's funny. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I mean, Marvel.
Spidey goes off to college, and everyone knows who he is.
I have said many times over the years that this is a wonderful time to be a nerd.
Yep.
And particularly to be a comic fan when it comes to movies, because the Marvel has been just knocking it out of the park. DC's done, you know, they're not as great, but DC's made some really great stuff, particularly Batman films. Have made some really great stuff.
Which I'm still looking forward to, the Batman.
Yeah, honestly. I'm still the Batman. I've got a little article about that coming up here to talk about. Wonder Woman was fantastic. The follow-up, not so much, but it still was beautiful at the very least. I mean, you can say what you will about these DC movies. They may not be as well received or doing as well as the Marvel ones, but they still look good. The Wonder Woman movies, both of them, looked fantastic. The Justice League movie, particularly the Snyder Cut, looked fantastic. Aquaman, both. The story was great. The acting was great. Everybody looked incredible.
Shazam,
special effects. Shazam, again, another excellent example. I mean, they've been a bit more hit or miss. Marvel apparently can't do any wrong, but DC's been a little more hit or miss. But still, it's a wonderful time to be a comic book fan and to be a fan of comic books and a fan of their movies. In the last 20 years, we've been seeing some amazing stuff. More good ones than bad, for sure.
So, go ahead.
So I'm really excited for what they've been doing with Spider-Man over the years has just been fantastic.
I think Holland is the best Spider-Man we've had, but I enjoyed the others for what they were at the time. I'm still not a huge fan of the third Raimi Spider-Man.
Oh, the third. Oh yeah, that one was.
But that was the studio. Was great. Well, yes, but that was the thing. That was the studio pushing things on Raimi to do Venom, and it was him kind of throwing a tantrum and saying, "No, fuck you, I don't want to do Venom, and I want to do Sandman," and shoving that in there too, and not doing justice to either one of those storylines.
Correct. The Sandman was good if they had concentrated exclusively on him, and then maybe a little bit of a sideline with Norman becoming, or not Norman, Harry becoming the new Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin. That would have been great. but instead they have him with his hobgoblin stuff. You've got Topher Grace trying to be Venom, and and failing, and then you got you've got David Hyde,
Thomas Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church, three name guy.
Yeah.
Thomas Hayden Church playing a pretty decent Sandman.
Which that's one of the things with the new one. They're not saying whether or not Thomas Hayden Church is actually back as Sandman.
Yeah, we're just seeing like maybe just a big cloud.
Well, they're saying that he may not be officially in the movie. He may just voice Sandman because they have a feeling they're one of the things in the article I was reading said that all we've seen so far has been like CGI stuff, and Sandman may wind up being completely CGI.
Yeah, same thing with the lizard too.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying about the lizard too, which is why what's his name? Rhys Ifans? Rise with Ifans?
Reese. I think it's actually Reese Ifans.
Mm-hmm. Reese Ifans. The guy, I don't know. It's a Welsh name, it looks like.
Welsh name.
Yeah. And they cheated Scrabble more than the Irish.
Right.
So but yeah, neither one of them has been shown like alongside of Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina, and Willem Dafoe.
In all honesty, too, we have two other Spider-Men in this movie, and we have not seen their faces yet. We've only seen them masked. We haven't heard their voices yet either. We've just seen their bodies. I mean, these other Spider-Men are in the movie, but we still haven't seen. We don't know how much they're going to be in it. We don't know.
Yep. It's probably going to just be some fan service that it'll be like the last 20 minutes of the movie when they all get together to fight all the big bads, and
they come together to fight to help each other out.
Yeah, it's going to be the them versus a version of the Sinister Six.
I don't care, man. I am jazzed. I am so fucking jazzed. I'm in, dude. I mean, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. And on the same note of Spider-Man, I also today saw the it's not really a trailer. It's not even really a teaser. But it's a first look. That's what it is.
First look at the
new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse part one.
Part one. Yeah, that was surprising too. That it's going to be a two-parter. So they're turning this into a trilogy, and I'm like, oh, fucking great. That first animated film was absolutely genius, and a great way to introduce the multiverse. Which, when it comes to the multiverse and Marvel, Spider-Man is intricately, kind of.
He's the web that holds it together.
He is. It is because it is a web, and I think that's what we saw in Loki. It went from being a single kind of stream to being, a web. It webbed out. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing, kind of an explanation of it. And
Spidey Pig Part 2.
Spider Pig, man. I'm down. Let's see more Spider Pig.
Spider Pig? Spider Pig.
It's actually Peter Porker.
Pig does.
It's going to be Peter Porker. He's Peter Porker, the Spider Ham. It's not Spider.
Can he swing from a web? No, he can't, because he's a pig.
Stop.
It's from The Simpsons, man.
I know. This new movie, I mean, it looks really cool. We've got Oscar Isaacs is playing Spider-Man of 2099. Arguably the most successful and most memorable character from that era of comics, from the 2099 era. And he was great. He was really great. Speaking of Spider-Man as well, the Spider-Man expansion to the Avengers video game premiered earlier or late last week, I think it was. I haven't played it yet, but I gotta admit, it might get me to come back to it. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the story, but this gameplay itself was kind of repetitive, and I was just kind of like, and then plus the fact that you really need to pay into the microtransactions to get a lot of the extra costuming and stuff. It's one of the worst examples. It is really one of the worst examples of that. It's the fact that all the expansions are free and it's great, but to really get all of the extra costuming and granted, it's mostly all it's not the gameplay stuff. It is the what do you call it? Just the cosmetic stuff, all the cosmetic stuff, you can earn
And
the
see,
points to get it
that's the
in
thing.
the game, but it's really hard.
I'm with CD. I don't pay for that kind of stuff. I'm not a big, like, I don't care about the costumes and stuff.
I might pay for some of it. Like I might try and I don't pay for it, but I'll try and earn the points in the game enough to get some of those things.
Yeah, maybe if something looks cool or something like that, I might do that. But I'm not going to pay real money for just to get a costume.
You know, particularly considering how expensive it is too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're because you buy points to spend, and it's not cheap. It's pretty pricey. I looked it up. I mean, I was looking at the pricing when I was playing the game. I'm like, man, that's steep. So
yeah, I'm with you on that too, CD. I won't match. I don't care. Go for the best gear, and that's in most games. That's what it is, and that's one of the things I love about like the Old Republic, Star Wars: The Old Republic. They finally came out. There was a time where you didn't match, and you looked weird at times. Now you can actually buy like or get like a full set of certain gear, and you can make that your main look. And then everything else you just put in, actually, that's just what it looks like. Everything else that you put in that mixes and matches and doesn't look right and doesn't match together, that all is what gives you your bonuses. And you don't have to look at it all the time. Renee says it bothers her when shit doesn't match.
Yeah, I gotta admit, but I mean, and they're doing some really creative stuff with some of the skins and stuff, some really fun shit, I gotta admit. But ultimately it doesn't affect the gameplay, it just looks cool,
Yeah.
So but still just or if you can earn the points to spend, to buy some of that stuff in the game, but earning the points is very hard. They should, at the very least, they should make earning the points a little bit easier. And to get back to the costuming and stuff, I mean,
yes.
I'll probably play the game mainly because the Spider-Man stuff looks cool. Also, the Black Panther stuff that was released earlier this summer, I haven't played that yet. Looks cool. And they do have teased more heroes coming. She-Hulk, I believe, is coming, and some other heroes coming to expand the game further. I did see an article saying like how great the new Guardians of the Galaxy video game is, and I've
been hearing good things.
And a lot of it comes down to, it's like, guys, this is a one and done. And it's one of the best examples of how games don't have to go on forever. They can still be awesome.
Yep.
So I haven't picked that up yet, but I definitely want to get a copy of that. One of the things I wanted to talk about here real quick, kind of a cool thing. We were talking about costuming a little bit. I mean, you're talking about the supervillain costumes. Dwayne Johnson hated his Black Adam costume at first, and then they took away the padding. Now, it's one thing if you're going to pad a costume that Willem Dafoe is wearing. Willem Dafoe is a small, strong dude.
Or even Tom Holland.
Or Tom Holland. Small guy. I mean, come on. We're talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson here. If there's ever a fucking dude that's going to play a superhero or anti-hero or a villain in a movie that doesn't need padding in their costume, it's Dwayne fucking Johnson.
CD just said, you need to CGI some muscles out, maybe.
Yeah, fuck, you're right. CD, that's anything. Fuck me. I mean, it said here, he goes, there are a few actors who know their bodies like Dwayne Johnson. The star's biceps have biceps, and that doesn't stop the Black Adam costume department, after padding to the superhero, adding padding to the superhero suit, anti-hero suit. That didn't go down well with The Rock. These are the best costume makers in the business who've done all the most amazing costumes. They're so talented. They come over to the house. I put it on and I fucking hate this costume, Johnson tells Total Film in the new issue of the magazine. Everything was padded. So they immediately start tearing and cutting and ripping. Then I put that costume on the second time with no padding, just cut in a way where it was enhancing the work that I had put in. I felt. He clicks his fingers and beams. I'm Black Adam. Johnson, it turns out, does not do things in halves. I wanted to come out in not only in the best shape of my career, but also in the kind of shape that was befitting of an unstoppable supervillain who becomes an anti-hero, he says. The easy version was I just continued on the same training regimen, not push myself, and find a Black Adam costume that covered my body up with some padded muscles in certain places, and no one will ever know. But I prefer to go the opposite way and really come in with phenomenal shape. That was the easy version.
Yeah.
The opposite way and really come in phenomenal shape and redesign a costume where I didn't need padding. The results speak for themselves. Johnson's Black Adam costume is a skin-tight suit that shows off his enormous body and comes with an awesome lightning bolt. Superman should be scared. Black Adam opens in cinemas on July 29th of 22, but much more on the film. You can check out Total Film Magazine.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough,
well, Renee actually mentioned that he's more buff now than he was when he was wrestling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's in better shape now than he was when he was.
And CD said he sure is like triple from wrestling.
Absolutely, he's more cut. He's bigger.
Yep.
It's just he looks amazing for a dude that's like 50.
Jeez, did he just tattoo the bolt on his chest and take off his shirt?
They should.
Sorry, you were saying though.
Well, it's interesting to note too.
Renee's in.
They padded the Shazam suit, and at first people were kind of like, man, it looks kind of padded. But then, Zach Levi also did the work. I mean, he put in the time. He looks amazing. I mean, the guy got pretty buff. Did they give him a little padding on the suit, probably to even him out in a few spots? Yes, but he really did do the work. And in all fairness, particularly also with the other actors when they become super, when they become Marvel, Shazammed, all of them looked pretty realistic. I mean, does it look padded? If you know what to look for, sure, but the padding actually looks fairly realistic. It moves right. It doesn't, it just looks pretty good. I think probably one of the best examples is when Conan O'Brien had a super suit made for himself. If you ever saw that.
No.
And oh man, look up images of Conan O'Brien with his superhero suit. And it's fucking hilarious. I mean, he basically went to, the company that makes a lot of superhero costumes for the movies, and they did a digital scan of him, and they made a superhero suit for him, and it was really, really awesome.
Oh wow, they cover up his hair too.
They give him like a helmet
that looks like hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was made specifically for when he was broadcasting from Comic-Con, because he did during Comic-Con for a week, he did shows from San Diego.
That's a hell of a padded suit.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, it still looked relatively natural. It wasn't like, it didn't look ridiculously fake. So they really have done an amazing job figuring out how to pad a costume without making it look too fake. They do a pretty good job. So anyway, Dwayne Johnson, happy with his new suit. Colin Farrell, who is playing the Penguin in the new Batman spinoff, or the new Batman movie, says that he will be returning as Penguin for the Batman spinoff show that they're going to be making.
Yes, I saw something on this.
Colin Farrell, Colin, you won't even recognize him. He's wearing a lot of prosthetic makeup. Colin Farrell will return as the Penguin for the Batman spinoff TV show on HBO Max. According to Variety, Farrell will star in the series and executive produce. The show is said to explore the Penguin's journey to holding power in Gotham's underworld. And while the series was first reported to be in development in September, this is the first indication that Farrell will be returning. So the show is going to be about Gotham itself. And I think it might be like called Gotham PD or something like that. So it will be featuring the Penguin as a major character and a big arc on the show. He goes, I'm only in it for 5 or 6 scenes, so I can't wait to see the film. About the film. I can't wait to see the film because it won't be ruined by my presence, the actor said of his role. Really, it's a freebie for me. I'll get a little bit uncomfortable for the fucking 9 minutes I have, and then the rest of it, I cannot wait to see how Matt Reeves, the director, brought this world to life, because the sets were extraordinary. The production design was extraordinary. His use of music and sound will be extraordinary, as you said, from the cast, from all of them, Robert and Zoe, to, extraordinary cast. So I guess he likes the word extraordinary. I got to admit, everything that I've seen so far, it's looking pretty good. I think we might get a bit of a darker emo Batman, but I think Pattinson's going to probably do a decent job.
I think so too.
Chris Hemsworth has said that he will play Thor for as long as Marvel wants, but thinks the enthusiasm could be waning. Chris Hemsworth has talked about his future as Thor in the MCU. How many Spider-Mans has Tom Holland done? He's a little behind me, Hemsworth said, told the Today Show. When asked if he'd continue in the MCU, like Holland, I think he's done 3. I've done 6 or 7 Thors, so maybe. As long as they'll have me, I'll turn up. But I feel like there might be waning that kind of enthusiasm for me to keep going.
So he's done 3 Thors so far.
He did 3 Thors, but he was also in 3 Avengers.
Well, 4 Avengers technically, because
he's going to be in the new Guardians of the Galaxy film. I mean, he's got a lot. He's doing a lot. So Hemsworth is.
I think Holland's going to catch him though, because Holland's got the 3 Spider-Mans now, plus Civil War, plus
the Avengers,
plus the last 2 Avengers.
2 Avengers movies. So Hemsworth has played his Marvel character in 3 solo. Oh, and he's going to be in Doctor Strange too. So Hemsworth has played his Marvel character in 3 solo movies: Thor, Thor: The Dark World, and Thor: Ragnarok. Has appeared in the Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame. With a voice role in What If, his next appearance will be in the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder, directed by Taika Waititi. So he's also coming up in Thor: Love and Thunder, and from what we hear, he will be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Holland, meanwhile, will next be seen in Spider-Man No Way Home, will probably be returning for another trilogy of Spider-Man movies, though Sony insiders have played down the news. Hemsworth will also be reprising his role as Tyler Rake in the upcoming Extraction 2. The MCU, meanwhile, continues on Disney Plus with Hawkeye, which is currently releasing weekly. We followed on the big screen by No Way Home this December 17th in the US. While you wait for more Thor, check out. So let's see. That sounds like it's a good time for us to kind of roll right into Hawkeye.
Well, no, let's talk about this first, because there's one other thing that before we get into Hawkeye, because this kind of ties in as well to Hawkeye. Is Kevin Feige was asked about the future of Daredevil.
Well, he was asked about
specifically about what was that?
He was actually asked about the Netflix Marvel characters, and then he addressed specifically Daredevil.
And he pretty much confirmed that at least if there is to be a Daredevil in the MCU, which there is a lot of talk about it happening, a lot of rumors about it happening, that it would be Charlie Cox, at least as of right now. His actual quote was, if you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor playing Daredevil. Where you see that, how you see that, when we see that, remains to be seen. Right. Now, Daredevil won't see any of that, but... but yeah, so there's a lot of talk. Is he going to be in No Way Home? Is he going to be in She-Hulk? Is he going to be in Echo? Where is he going to show up? Because
they've also talked about Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin,
and that's where the tie-in is, and that's where we're going to get into Hawkeye now. In that and this is the biggest thing in this week's episode of Hawkeye is. There was references to Kate's uncle.
Okay.
And everyone is saying that's Kingpin.
You think Kate Bishop's uncle is the Kingpin?
Yes.
Okay. That's never been referenced, as far as I know, it's never been referenced in the comic books.
No, it's a change. But when they show him reaching out and pinching the cheek, it's in the show.
Oh! When he pinches Echo's cheek.
Was it Echo's cheek?
I can't remember.
I'm trying to think of who it was, because maybe it's Echo. It's Echo's uncle.
I think it's Echo's uncle.
Yes, it's Echo's uncle. That's what it is. It's Echo's uncle. It's Echo's uncle is the Kingpin.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested. Okay, so the third episode,
and that D'Onofrio is going to show up in this, which will be the first tie-in to the Netflix shows.
Apparently, D'Onofrio loved playing the Kingpin.
He did. He absolutely loved it, and every interview that I ever read with him or anything like that, he talked about how much he loved it and wants to continue playing him forever. When they canceled the Netflix shows, he immediately started petitioning to be Kingpin in
be cast
the MCU.
As Kingpin in the MCU. Yeah, I think he did a great job.
I think he did too.
He was perfect. He was absolutely perfect. So Hawkeye episode 3. we get into some of the history and the background of Echo, the character that they are introducing, that was introduced in the Daredevil books several years ago. And she will be having her own show on Disney Plus in the next 2 years. She was one of the ones that was revealed. Now, in the comics, Echo has a power that's or an ability very similar to the Taskmaster, where she has photographic reflexes, where if she sees a movement or sees a dance move or a fighting move or whatever, she can immediately
mimic
it. She also is deaf and is one of the first major characters to be established as deaf. Now it's interesting, they have been playing up Hawkeye's hearing loss too. In the comic books, Hawkeye did suffer hearing loss and had to wear a hearing aid in the comic books. It hadn't been really played up much over the last few years, over the last, I'd say even like 20 years. It's never really been dealt with a lot. But I did like the fact that this was almost like a kind of a connecting moment between the two of them.
Yeah, as I say, it was a way for them to connect in this.
And he's like, sorry, not deaf, just hard of hearing. And, but when they showed how much hearing loss he really did have, it was like substantial.
Yeah, well, and she even said that he'd be better off without it, and she throws it on the ground and stomps on it.
Stomps on it at that point. Well, or not throw it, it got knocked out of his ear, and then she stomped on it later.
Yeah.
But the fight scene was spectacular because we see them, the two of them, because the second episode ended with Kate falling through the skylight. And then they basically got tied up by the tracksuit mafia. But we did see
to those little like quarter-driven like little rocking machines.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's on a unicorn.
Yeah. But I loved how they went into Echo's background, showed that she had a father or an uncle or something that was that raised her and was very sweet to her and stuff. It also showed that she had a prosthetic leg too, which it
was her father. Was her father? Yeah, it was her father.
It showed. I liked how they continued with the idea that her name is Maya Lopez. She has been established as being an indigenous character too. She's supposed to be native and Mexican of origin. So that was one of the things that they've been very strongly pushing in the comic books recently, because she has become a member of the Avengers, and in the comic books is now also the host for the Phoenix Force. So her power level is through the roof now. I mean, she rivals Thor in power levels now. So, but it is interesting to see how that they're dealing with that. And Marvel and DC both have been pushing for more inclusivity over the last, like I'd say, pushing at least 20 years. And particularly within the last 10. So to establish her as a member of the Avengers and stuff has been pretty cool. So showing her background, showing her growing up, showing her learning how to fight. I thought that was at least her early childhood.
Mm-hmm.
But then establishing like why she hated Ronan so much, why she had such a kind of a vengeance for him, because Clint, when he was in his darkest moments
as Ronan,
wiped out a lot of the upper echelon of the tracksuit mafia, which included her father,
and she saw him stab her father from outside.
So it's going to be interesting to see them resolve that. I'm fairly certain Clint's going to get a happy, get to ride off into the sunset. But at the same time, he's going to have to go through some shit to get that.
Yeah.
They're not going to kill off Clint Barton. I think that would be a mistake.
Well, and we had a really cool chase scene. Following
that amazing fight scene.
Yes.
It was really great. I mean, it wasn't quite the down the hallway scene in Daredevil, but it was still pretty great.
Yeah.
And then that chase scene where we get to see
they come out first, and there's that Challenger sitting there, and Kate wants to take it, and Clint's like, no, I can't wreck that car.
Yeah.
Which is actually from the comic where he did steal that car.
Oh yeah. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
in the comics, that's the car he takes as the Challenger. But anyway, so they get on this whole thing, and he's feeding arrows to Kate. It's the stuff we saw in the previews. No, not
Right.
that one. No,
That's
not that
who it
one.
is, yeah.
Here, use this one. And and she's like, wait, there are 3 arrows more dangerous than that one.
Yeah, that was
and then
pretty
there's the
funny.
suction cup arrow. She's like, a suction
Was
cup
that
arrow?
plunger arrow?
Yeah, plunger
Yeah.
arrow. Yeah.
Which then we did realize comes in handy much in the next scene when they're
Mhm.
trying to catch that train. So,
But I also liked, and I knew what was going to happen as soon as I realized what the arrowhead said. That it said Pym. When she's like, he's like, shoot this up in the air.
yeah, that was so fucking great. The Pym particle arrow. I saw that and I went, holy shit, a Pym particle arrow, genius. That was awesome.
Yeah, turn the arrow that she shot into a gargantuan fucking arrow.
It turned it into a fucking telephone pole, man. I mean,
that's really what it was. Yeah,
it was a
sharpened
tactical
telephone
missile at that point, dude. It was crazy. Loved it though. The show is firing on all cylinders. It's great. We also got to see a little bit more about Jacques Duquesne.
Mm-hmm.
And about his ability I think it was the 3rd episode where he fences with Kate, right?
No, that was in the 2nd episode.
Was that in the 2nd one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's right. So then the 3rd episode did end with them going back to her mom's house and Jack having Clint basically at sword point with his, under his chin, with his razor sharp Ronin blade, that very technologically advanced Ronin blade that basically can just collapse into itself.
Yep.
It's basically a switchblade, but in sword form. I'm honestly really kind of interested to see how this is going to play out, because
I am too.
Because knowing the origins and in the comic books, the connection between Jack Duquesne and Clint Barton. I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out.
And I agree with CD. There are some issues with the plot, and it's very contrived. It seems like it's almost like one of those old D&D modules where you're just railroaded to go this way.
Mm.
It's you're going to stay between these lines. And that's the only thing you can do. It seems like it's just one thing after another, and it's just very, very formulaic as far as the way that it's.
I think we're gonna have to. I think there's gonna be a big payoff, is what it is. I think some of the stuff's a little predictable and a little formulaic, but I think we're gonna get.
I think
a big end game payoff.
And I'm hoping for that. I think part of the reason that we're getting that formulaicness, for lack of a better way of saying it, is the fact that there are only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So they can't take it too far afield.
Correct.
They have to kind of stay in their lane and just run with it. But I think that we're going to see D'Onofrio come in probably in the last episode.
Yeah.
As Kingpin, and then we're going to see him more in future things, probably like She-Hulk and eventually the Man with No Fear show that's going to wind up being out there.
I'll bet you that's what they'll call it too. They won't call it Daredevil because they don't want to confuse it. They don't want it to be confused with the Daredevil show on Netflix. Well, I know. I was still going to finish that last season.
Oh, so good. But I was reading it on Nerdist, and one of the things that they were saying in there is, one, it's probably going to wind up on Hulu if they do a show.
Yeah.
But 2, the hope is that it's not just Charlie Cox coming back, that it's the entire cast that they bring back.
Oh, absolutely.
And they said that
bring back Deborah Ann Wool and bring back, I can't remember the guy's name who played Foggy, but I mean, everybody needs to come back.
They're all back together at the end of season 3. They everything's back to normal, and the way that they left it, they could easily do a soft reboot on it
Yeah.
And just pick up from there, because nothing in the previous Daredevil stories contradicts anything in the MCU.
Correct.
In fact, in the first season of Daredevil, in one of the first episodes,
Well,
they
reference
the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, they reference the attack.
The event.
They kept it real light.
Yep.
The event or whatever it is. They don't. They'll occasionally you hear them mention like
But it's part of
the guy with the shield or the big green guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. But they don't tie too closely into it. They just like go, okay. There's enough references to go, okay, this exists in that world, but I want to see them all. I want to see. Kristen Ritter has said that she's happy to come back as Jessica Jones.
And there's lots of talk that they want her to come back as Jessica Jones too.
For
now, what's his name? The guy that played Luke Cage said he's done.
Yeah. So I mean, you know what? I liked him, but I'm sure they can find another actor that could probably do the role justice.
Mm-hmm. They could definitely find a better Danny Rand.
Yes. Well, the interesting thing is in the comic books, Danny Rand is stepping aside. He's retiring as the Iron Fist. And they've got a new character, and a new Asian character is actually going to be the new Iron Fist.
Well, and I guess I read an article, and I believe it was that the woman who played Colleen Wing actually turned down the opportunity to be in Shang-Chi.
Oh, really?
And
as Colleen Wing?
That was the thing. They said they didn't know whether or not it would actually be Colleen Wing, or if she was going to be a whole different character. But it was a scheduling issue, I guess, and things like that from what I was reading. But yeah, she actually turned it down, and I'm like, okay, she was the best thing out of Iron Fist, I think.
She really was. She well, you know what I really liked though too was Rosario Dawson too, as that kind of bridging character that was on all of them.
I liked her in everything. She was fantastic in Daredevil.
She was as the night nurse, man. She was great. She was great in all of them. She was in Luke Cage. She was in Daredevil. She was in Iron Fist. I mean, she showed up in Jessica Jones as well, because she, like I said, she was that bridging character that was in all four of them. It was fucking great. Yeah, I mean, I think if they had worked to some more of the kinks out of Daredevil, I think if not Daredevil, if Iron Fist had gone a third season, maybe they could have worked to some of the kinks out a little bit. It might have been able to redeem itself in its third season. Never go ask them that. God damn it, Renee. Sometimes, if the mood's right, it's okay. It's like,
I knew it.
I love Clerks 2.
I do too. That's
I
such a great movie.
cannot wait for it. When Clerks 3, I cannot.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that last night. I said I can't wait for Clerks 3.
Yeah. Well, they're done. They're done filming.
Oh yeah, I know. He's going to put it out just like he did with Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah,
which was actually way better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah. It was entertaining. It was definitely cute and fun, and it was also a little Kevin Smithy. Yeah. As much as I like Kevin Smith, and I mean I love Kevin Smith's work, there are times when he gets a little too much of himself, and but Clerks 2 was absolutely genius, and I'm looking forward to Clerks 3, seeing them revisit that.
Renee said sometimes she forgets that it was her in Clerks 2.
Yeah. She was great. I love Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson is one of those actresses I will see anything that she's in. I mean, I'm really like, so Dawson's in? Fucking yeah, I'm in. Whatever. It could be a rom-com. It could be an action film. It could be a horror movie. I don't care.
Sin City. She was fantastic.
Sin City. She was amazing. She was Gale. Yeah. Yep. If Rosario Dawson's in it, I'm down. Go for it. I'll do it. I'm
looking forward to the Ahsoka series. Speaking of Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You know what? A lot of Kevin Smith's podcasts are great. I mean, he's like kind of the grandfather of podcasting.
The dude just likes to talk.
Yeah. Well, the Smodcast. I mean, that's the thing. He started off as a writer or director, and when he was finding it more and more difficult to be a director. He was like, you know, he kind of reinvented himself when it came to podcasting. I mean, the Smodcast is one of the original podcasts and still one of the highest, you know, was one of the most listened to ones there is. You know?
Fat Man on Batman is another one.
Yeah, he does I mean, that's his more movie oriented one, I think, or something.
That's his comic book one. Fat Man on Batman. Yeah, Fat Man on Batman started off actually him just talking about Batman.
Oh, okay.
And comics.
So that's his comics and stuff. And then TV series during COVID because they couldn't do live shows. Funny. Yeah, with Ralph Garman usually live. And then he's got another one that he does, I think that's mostly movie stuff. And then I mean he's got an entire network.
There was I forget which one that was, but it was based on it was the movie review thing that he created for the Clerk series. Poop shoot, yeah. Movie Poop Shoot.
So yeah, I mean it's just the guy's doing something. I remember I was listening to Smodcast at the beginning. Because you know, I'll go back to the beginning and start listening. I started listening to a lot of them. And I gotta admit, sometimes it's like, you know, it was him getting high and then hanging out with Mosier, and the two of them kind of just bullshitting. And there were a few times, or sometimes I was like, this is getting a little boring for me. But then there were other times it was fucking, you know, genius. I mean, just some great stuff. And one of the things that cracked me up the most was he was sponsored by Fleshlight for a while. And he was like, yeah, I mean, they sponsored the show. So I figured, what the hell, I'd give it a try. And he became a cheerleader for male sex toys, for Fleshlights. Okay. And then he would talk about it on the podcast about jerking off and using a Fleshlight, and he's like, it's the 21st century. Why am I still masturbating with my hand? You know, I was just like, fuck, I guess never looked at it that way, but sure. And he talked about how, you know, women can use toys and it's fine, but we use toys and we're weird. I mean, come on. And I'm like, that makes a lot of fucking sense. I've never bought a Fleshlight, but I kind of went, no, I mean, yeah, I never looked at it that way, but that makes sense. I just thought it was hilarious that Fleshlight. I mean, he was at his live shows. He was giving away. They're tossing them out to the audience and shit. Really funny. But Kevin Smith, man, the guy, I mean, I've often said he's the voice of Generation X. And I think very much in many ways he is.
All right, so
our voice.
Quick surprise question. What's your least favorite Kevin Smith movie of the Jersey films?
Of the Jersey films? Of all of his movies, I'd have to say Yoga Hosers is my least favorite. But out of the Jersey films,
I haven't seen I've seen Yoga Hosers. I've seen
all of his movies.
I haven't seen Tusk.
Oof. Tusk is rough.
But
Yoga Hosers was an actual sequel to Tusk.
Well, it was a spin-off, yeah.
A spin-off. Yeah, technically. And I'll admit in any of his movies, there's something in it that's redeemable. There's some funny shit, or there's something funny, you know, something hilarious in them.
I actually thought Yoga Hosers was okay. It was just a vehicle for his daughter.
Yeah, it was a vehicle for Harley and for Johnny Depp's daughter. And,
yeah.
But just the little mini Nazis and the Nazi. Oh,
the Bratwurst Nazis.
The Bratwurst, the Bratzis, yeah.
Yeah, Bratzis, yeah.
It was really funny that it took place in Canada. It was really funny that, you know, like.
Yes, but yeah, I'm talking the Jersey movies.
I don't know, man. Maybe Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I guess. No, I'd have to say out of the ones that I liked them all, but I'd have to say the one that I probably liked the least was probably I guess Rebooted, the newest one. I mean, I liked it, but there were times when it was a little cringy, a little whatever. But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back had some hilarious shit in it.
And see, for me, I think my least favorite is actually Chasing Amy.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
I still like it, but it's my least favorite. It's the one that I don't go back and watch.
Okay. I mean, it's arguably the one he's been praised for the most.
It's because it's also I think, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's one of my least favorite, is because it's the one that tries to get too serious.
Okay. Well, what happened is he shot out of the gate with Clerks, and everybody loved it. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's an auteur and he's amazing." And then he made Mallrats, and people were like, they gave him a much, 10 times the size budget. They're like, "We're gonna make $100 million on this," and it ended up being a bit of a stinker. And even Kevin Smith was like, "Yeah, this kind of sucked." And then later on, when it got a second life in on DVD. Because that was the thing. Mallrats is one of those movies that's one of the great examples of a movie that didn't do great in the theater, but ended up doing really, really well on home rental and whatnot. Like, it even got to the point where he was like, he recanted. He goes, "You know what? It's not a bad movie." He goes, it got bad. It had a bad showing in the theaters, but it ended up being a good movie. And so he recanted. And then after the rough showing of Mallrats, he kind of went back to basics, and much smaller film, much smaller budget, and wrote a more intimate piece, which was Chasing Amy, and put a lot of his own kind of experience into the movie as well. I mean, a lot of that story, Chasing Amy, it was his own personal kind of story about like a girl that he loved or something. So I think Chasing Amy was him kind of getting back to basics and going, we went too big last time. So,
but what's funny is Mallrats, if you ever watched the like the deleted scenes with commentary, first of all, it's like longer than the movie to watch those, because he just rattles on.
It goes on and on.
Yeah. But it's funny that he talks about the fact that a lot of the stuff that he shot, that he cut from the movie, there's still references to it in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like when they're going to the dirt mall and the guy walks up and says something to him, and he just cold cocks him. Punches him. He's actually referencing a deleted scene.
Right. Yeah. And that's, unfortunately, that was one of the things that I think that made the movie suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Is things like that.
I actually still love Mallrats. I think it's hilarious.
I loved it. I saw it in the theater, and I thought it was great. So, well, we should probably wrap things up. It is 9:45. Hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Our post Thanksgiving show or whatever. Second post Thanksgiving show. So it's
the second show.
Yeah, second post. Guys, we got Christmas coming up.
It's our second. It's our second pre-Christmas show, because our third pre-Christmas show. We got 2 more before Christmas.
Guys, we got Christmas is coming up, and it would be a great gift for Chris and I is more subscribers or more followers.
What would be a great gift for that person on your list that's hard to buy for? A subscription to Nerds with Alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. That subscription. Tell all your friends about us. We have 53 followers right now. We've got a couple of subscribers. Once again, we're not doing this for cash. 4 subscribers. 4. We're not doing this for the cash, but it would go towards improving the show. And like I said, we're still working on planning more stuff and getting some more guests on the show. I gotta talk to a couple of my friends.
We need to make some time for me to come over and show you a bunch of stuff too, and get some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So we can anytime you got a day or whatever.
Well, now that I'm healthy again.
Yeah.
And you're not bogged down by 12-hour days.
For sure. We've got plans for more content. We got more stuff coming. Eventually probably going to get into some merch. We just kind of gotta get off our butts and do it some more. But
we gotta find the time.
We gotta find the time. I have a lot more free time right now, Chris, and you're kind of busy, but like I said, whenever you're ready. But yeah, tell your friends about us, man. We'd love to hear you. We'd love to see the interaction on the chat. Thanks again, CD, for joining us. It was nice to see.
And thanks to everyone that's supporting the Tavern Night Show that we
Yeah,
do too, our D&D
absolutely.
show. We don't get a lot of viewers while we're doing it live, but we're getting a lot of views on Twitch itself and on YouTube. So
yeah,
that's fantastic. Thank you to everyone that's supporting us on that.
Really do appreciate that. Yeah, the game's getting nothing but better. So, now that we've hit level 4, yeah.
No,
we're level 8.
Yeah,
right?
you're level 8 now.
8.
Yeah, I'm like,
Duh.
you want to go back to 4? We can go back to 4.
No, let's not. I was thinking about crit roll. Crit roll just hit level 4. So
yeah. It is a fun group, CD. I'm actually really enjoying the group that we have. I miss the people who left, but I understand. It's tough.
It's a big commitment.
But I think we've got a good solid group now, and I think it's entertaining seeing Alexandra with her first ever D&D game.
Yeah, absolutely. She does seem to be having fun. It's going to be interesting to see her kind of learn the etiquette and learn the rules, and because there is there's a certain amount of etiquette that comes with being a gamer.
Well, and that's the thing. So
knowing when your character would do something and when they wouldn't,
Well, and part of it is that, so when we started this, we decided to give all the new players a little bit of time before we went live and to let them learn the basics of the game. We're not doing that with her. She's just getting thrown in the deep end and all right, here you go. And she's been doing great.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where.
And I love that her character's named Halt.
Yeah. Was it Halt Arite or something like that?
Ariate or something like that, which actually means halt in French.
Right. All right, guys. You can find Nerds with Alcohol in all the places you can find quality podcasting, guys. We are on the Google Play Store. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We are on the Odyssey app. We're on Stitcher and iHeartRadio. Guys, you can also download and stream all of the episodes at nerdswithalcoholshow.com. Guys, we are here on Twitch, on YouTube, and you can also check out our other shows on these channels as well.
Yeah, and you can follow us on most of the social medias. We're on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Instagram, Drinking Nerds, and Twitter at Drinking Nerds. You can also follow me if you want, specifically on Twitter at Detroit Beer Guy. It's down there underneath my name. Yeah, so I think that will about do it.
Yep. Thanks, CD. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks CD, Renee, everybody else that came out. Sneak Coot. But yeah, I think on that note. Until next time. Sláinte. Because I had the thicker rocks glass. But all right, have a good week, everybody.
Good night.